doing fantastic, Whitney. I'm happy to be here with you. And how are you doing?
I'm fantastic as well, trying to keep cool down here in Arizona. It is warm as heck. So my Seattle blood is not doing so well. But you know what? We have a pool, so we're staying cool. It's no big deal. Air conditioning is a beautiful thing. Today we have a really awesome show lined up for everybody. We're going to be talking about what the new normal is looking like, or if this is what we're currently living in right now. Is this what it was like before, or is this a totally different country we were living in? There's a lot of things going on and a lot of things to consider when we're trying to discover what exactly our society is going to look like moving forward. So we're going to be talking about that. And in addition, we have an update from Convention of States, Wyoming, which is super exciting, and how they're ramping up this week to educate residents about the constitutional solution of an Article 5 Convention of States. So that's going to be super fun. I'm really, really excited to talk to our guest about that. Also, really exciting news. We just surpassed 2 million likes on Facebook, which is amazing. So thank you so much to all of y'all. Super exciting. Of course, we have our Ask Us Anything segment at the end of this video if we have enough time. I mean, sometimes we run out of time. But if we have time, go ahead and ask your questions throughout the video, and we'd be happy to answer them at the end. And of course, we have our Article 5 trivia giveaway with Mike Ruthenberg himself. Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Whitney. It is great to be here today for another episode of our COS Live. It's so important for us to be able to communicate the up-to-the-minute stuff, but of course, all work and no play makes a dull boy or girl. So we're going to have some fun right now, do some trivia, and we're going to give away a very cool prize. You know, you can wear this prize when you are in a really serious thing like a meeting. Imagine if you had these COS socks that were underneath your formal clothing. Regardless if you're a man or a woman, they are all the rage right now. And if you answer our trivia question today, you'll get these socks. And just for fun, I'm going to throw in a cell phone wallet. This particular wallet right here, not that exact one, but the one that looks exactly like it, is responsible for me switching and not carrying a giant wallet in my pocket anymore. So these could be revolutionary prizes for you should you win them by knowing this question. And I'll tell you up front, this is a tough question. And a hint I'm going to give you is that it's not going to be the answer that you would expect. So if you're a wild guesser, there's a very good chance you get this unless you happen to know the answer to this very important question we have. And it's revolving around Article 5 and the importance of Article 5. We all know that right now, the Congress has the ability to propose amendments to the Constitution, as Article 5 provides for. They can put it out for ratification to 3/4 of the states. And once that happens, boom, we've had an amendment to the Constitution. That's been done 27 times. It's never been done the way we're planning on doing it, because, of course, what we can do is we can take the power of the Congress, the power of the president, the Supreme Court. Nobody can mess with this, which is why this was put into Article 5. And so what I want you to do is I'm going to share with you some of that sentiment, and you get to point out who it is that said this very important statement in a little bit more formal terms than what I just brought to you. And here goes. It must therefore be evident to every candid man that 2/3 of the states can always procure a general convention for the purpose of amending the Constitution, and that 3/4 of them can introduce those amendments into the Constitution, although the President, Senate, and Federal House of Representatives should be unanimously opposed to each of them. It's a powerful statement. Who said it? Was it A, James Madison, B, Tench Cox, C, George Washington, or D, George Mason? You already got the hint. It's a tough question unless you really know your history. And I'll be back later in the show to tell you who that was, who coined that phrase, and we'll have a new prize winner. Somebody will be cruising in the COS socks. Back to you, Whitney.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. That is a great question. If y'all can get that, be very impressed. I absolutely love that question. Last week, we reached a huge milestone. We have reached 2 million likes on Facebook, which is amazing, super exciting. We also recently saw that our petition signatures have reached 1.6 million, which is amazing. And about 1,200 new people are signing the petition every single day, which is so cool. So thank y'all so much. We're so excited to see this happening just all across the nation. It's a really cool time to see this happening because I think throughout all this COVID nonsense that we're dealing with, we kind of have a new perspective on what tyrannical government looks like in a lot of areas. So definitely a new perspective, though it's kind of hard to go through what we're going through right now as a nation. There's a lot more patriots that are being born because of this, which is really cool. What's more, our social media accounts have seen 4 times the engagement levels of other nonprofits like the Heritage Foundation or ACLU or ACLJ, which is amazing. So though they have more likes on Facebook, we actually have 4 times the engagement. So that's amazing. We are patriots that are liking our page or just super active, really, really passionate about the cause. And it's just really cool. It's happening at a crazy rate, and we're just really excited to see that happen.
Yeah, and Whitney, to me, it seems like it fits really neatly into the kind of the ethos that we have with Convention of States, right? We're all about engagement, getting people engaged. In fact, I've heard one of the things is we want to educate, engage, and then activate. And so engage is, right in the middle there. And it just shows that, we're not concerned about just having a packed Facebook. We're concerned about having a bunch of people engaged and on fire for liberty. Clearly, the Article 5 message is resonating as Americans are increasingly divided along party lines. America is looking for a solution because it seems like we can't trust the political leaders on the right, the left, or the center. It doesn't matter where you look. And so, but Convention of States, we are the solution. This is the place to go if you are having those doubts about your political leaders. This is come to us, because we have the solution, and we're trying to prevent the federal government from abusing its power like it has been doing with the lockdowns and with the stay-at-home orders and so many other areas. So please, if you haven't signed the Convention of States petition, make sure to go do that. Go sign the petition. Sign yourself to this organization, to this movement, because we're a large grassroots movement that is dedicated to self-governance. And if you have signed the petition, get involved. Tell some friends, tell some family members, or go to the COS website and become a leader, become a district captain or a volunteer at some level. It's time to be transitioned from a mere voter to a citizen activist. And we thank you for those who are already engaged. We thank you for showing up to this historic movement to save the country. So with that, we have a great guest that I want to hear from, Whitney.
Yes, I'm super excited. We have Julie Baker, who's the grassroots coordinator for Convention of States in Wyoming. And this is actually the first time in history where we're actually covering Wyoming on our COS Live. So we are so excited. Julie, thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So flashback to March of 2020. That seems like 5 years ago to me.
Yeah.
Seems like so long ago. But the COS Wyoming team was poised to make a big push for Convention of States. And y'all had all these town hall meetings planned and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was super excited for this next year. And then COVID-19 hit and you guys had to adjust. Would you tell us a little bit about what happened, what you guys had to cancel, and how your team responded to that?
Yeah, we had 3 town halls scheduled, one in Evanston, one in Pinedale, and one in Rock Springs, all in the southwest of Wyoming. And our regional captain over in the southwest region, she had organized all of those town halls. And then the week that they were to be held, or the week before they were going to be held, there was the edict, or the suggestion that no more than 10 people should be in a gathering, together. And so we just had to make that decision to cancel those. And it was a little disappointing. A lot of people were disappointed, but I don't know, somehow thought it was the right thing to do. So that's what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, what happened to the town halls? Like, did you have to cancel the events, or did you have to do them virtually? What happened?
No, we canceled them, but we've
Okay.
reinstated them. They're scheduled for this week. In fact, two of them are scheduled for this week. Now, the very sad thing that in some place like Wyoming, we couldn't schedule the third one because any venue that has something to do with the government didn't want to take any risks and have people in their venue. So two of them are going ahead this week. Happily, the legislators who wanted to come to the last three town halls are coming to these, as well. So that was really nice. And sadly, the one that had to be canceled altogether and will have to be rescheduled as soon as we can find an appropriate venue. Those three legislators want to come back for that as well. So maybe we can talk about that in a minute, how we're getting legislators and candidates to come and help us with these town halls too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really it's been unfortunate that we've had these lockdowns and that we've been forced to stay at home and that we've seen so many draconian orders come out of these lockdowns. But there is, I would say, like a silver lining, because we have been, as an organization, we've had the opportunity to get focused on recruitment, and we've had the opportunity to get focused on training. And those are two essential tools to building a large, engaged grassroots army, which is our mission, because we can use this grassroots army to call an Article 5 Convention of States. And then we can also use this grassroots army to help pass amendments. And then after that, after getting amendments passed, we can use it to hold legislators accountable. So with that being said, have you seen in Wyoming, have you seen any progress or any successes in building and equipping your team there over the last couple months?
Yeah, we have. We actually have 3 more people in our leadership team because of recruitment drives and because people are able to stay at home and concentrate more on things that are important to them, like self-governance, and they've seen how stupid some of these, some of the edicts are, and just want to get out and do something. And we've also had, really happily, one of our former senators has joined our team as well over the last couple of months, and he's going to help with the legislators come the legislative session, and that's really quite a coup. But we've got some new active district captains, which is just awesome. In fact, one has only been with us for a couple of months, and she's already organizing a town hall in a couple of weeks. So, that's really, we've been very fortunate.
Wow, that is so cool. So how is Wyoming doing in terms of lockdowns? What does that look like for y'all? Is there kind of a sense of like, oh, this is the new normal, we kind of have to adjust, or are things actually going back to normal, or does it seem pretty, constrictive still so far?
Well, it seems like it's becoming more so now than it was back in March. There have been, and I don't know, it's not necessarily our governor, but more companies, making that decision. So I've heard that Walmart is going to start requiring masks, and some other stores, Smith's or something, are going to start requiring masks. But I have to say, when all the suggestions came, we did have bars locked down and restaurants and hairstylists and all that sort of thing that you have in other states. But most people I talked to, in fact, I would have to say 99% of the people I talked to thought that it was all quite silly, and we still behaved normally. We went to Menards and bought building supplies, and went to Walmart. Nobody was wearing masks, and parking lots were full, and traffic was not much different than normal. So it didn't really affect us too much. And most of the people I talked to didn't really change their habits at all, unless they were, afraid of getting the virus and they were compromised in some respect. But mostly people just carried on. it wasn't quite as silly as I've heard in other states.
Mm-hmm. Other states have been really affected. I mean, personally, my state in California has been affected dramatically because of this. Our governor has really put on some stringent restrictions for what we can and cannot do, which is very unfortunate. We don't want to see that. The COVID has really been such an interruption for this session, this legislative session, and it's unfortunately it's impinged upon the progress of the COS resolution in many states. So do you have any update in regards to Wyoming getting the COS resolution passed in the upcoming legislative session? And if not, is there any way that you're going to build some additional support within the legislature?
Yeah, there isn't really any update because our legislative session is so short, and it's in January, February for, couple of months at the most, and our last session was a budget session, so we didn't even introduce the resolution. So every 2 years we can introduce it, so we have to really push this year. All of our representatives are up for re-election this year, and half of our senators, and so we're really trying to get people aware of where their candidates stand on Convention of States, which is why for our town halls, we invite legislators and candidates to come, not just attend, but help participate and facilitate the conversation. And we're not asking them to make a speech about Convention of States and take a position one way or the other. We're just asking them to come and help facilitate the discussion. And we hope that they will learn something as well. And like I say, we've had a number of legislators who, are happy to come. And even some that we know oppose and have voted against it are still happy to come and help facilitate. So that's really positive, and we're trying to just keep an open mind and a lot of legislators I've spoken with, when they voted against Convention of States, have done so really erring on the side of caution, not really knowing anything about the process and the fact that it isn't some big scary process that that we're all going to wish we hadn't gone through. And I've had a lot of feedback from legislators who voted against it a couple of years ago and who are ready to vote for it this time. But we have to see how this primary rolls out on August the 18th, and then see who we have in our legislature and start working on the on the target vote. So
And quickly, would you be able to just give a couple more details on these candidate events that you were just talking about, and what exactly, like why you are doing this, what you're trying to, what the goal is? If you could just give a few more details on that, Julie.
Okay. Well, the town halls are just educational town halls. So we'll have a presentation. Dave Schneider is coming, our regional director. He's going to come in and actually make the presentations, which is great. He's in his RV traveling across the country, and so he's going to attend. We have one of our legislative liaisons, our Veterans Coalition director, and our regional captain from the Southwest region will all be at these town halls. We've invited incumbent legislators who are not up for re-election, and also candidates for the Wyoming State Legislature to just come and learn about Convention of States and ask questions from their perspective. Because when we've had town halls before, and the constituents are there, they don't necessarily hear the questions from the legislative point of view. So some of the candidates don't know anything about it. Some of the candidates know about it and are a bit scared. Others are full on for Convention of States, and likewise with the incumbent legislators. So really, we just wanted to have the legislators and candidates for the legislature meet constituents, and we're all talking about Convention of States. So that's the goal, and that actually was the brainchild of Steve Dewar, who's one of our legislative liaisons from Jackson, and Marlene Brady, who's our Southwest regional captain, is the one who's organizing these. But we have more coming up. We have one in Casper or Evansville, actually, will come up the second week of August. We're having a booth in Sundance, second week of August for the Sturgis Rally. We've had a booth the last 2 years, so all the bikers come through on Wyoming Wednesday and stop at our booth and talk about convention estates, which is quite fun. And then we're having also in Sundance next Monday a candidate forum for 2 House representative candidates in my district. So that'll be fun, and that's hosted by Convention Estates too. So.
Nice. Oh, I love that. I love hearing all the events that are picking up again. It's just so, it's encouraging to me. It just makes me so excited. That's amazing. It makes me also realize how much we took for granted before this began. You know, like just the fact that we can do these again is just super exciting, super awesome. And so I just want to ask you a little more about your personal testimony within Convention of States, Julie. How did you get involved with Convention of States, and what's your favorite part about being involved in this historic movement?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking with my husband the other day after speaking with Garrett about doing this, and I was trying to remember how we heard about Convention of States, and I asked Garrett to look up when did I sign the petition because I don't remember, and he said way back in 2015, and so we're thinking, well, it had to be Glenn Beck. It had to have been on Glenn Beck's show that we heard about it in the first instance. Signed the petition, and then I kind of really didn't do anything after that. And the district captain in my district kept prodding me and poking me and telling me that, you know, I should get involved because I'd seen him at Republican Party, you know, meetings and such. And he was the district captain, and then he became our state director. And so he was poking and prodding me, and I organized a couple of little get-togethers in our area, just to let people know about Convention Estates. And he said, well, you know, you might as well be the district captain because you're already doing it, you know? And so I said, yeah, like so many other people that I hear, and, you know, when they were asked this question, it's like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. And yeah, I don't really have the skills, and, you know, all those same responses. So anyway, that's how I got involved. It was because of Rod Guile and his persistence.
I love it.
And then but it's just so rewarding. I mean, you know, we all get a little bit down sometimes because things aren't moving as fast as we'd like them to. Well, as fast as I'd like them to, I should say. But then you talk to somebody and it makes it all worthwhile. Like this lady I talked to yesterday, she had just signed the petition, and I was calling her up to tell her about the Rock Springs event, and she started telling me about how frustrated she was with all this mask wearing, you know, in terms of people forcing you to do it. And she said she's compromised. She has an immune system, she's compromised immunologically. That's the right way to say it. And she said, I don't expect anybody to wear a mask. I look after myself. You know, I protect myself. She works with the public all the time. And she just takes care of her own environment and takes care of herself. And she doesn't want anybody to have to wear a mask, you know? So I just, you know, I listen to people like that, and it's awesome. It gives you more inspiration, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Julie, we're coming like towards the end of this interview. So I just wanted to ask you one quick question before we go. Would you be able to tell the viewers, especially those that are in Wyoming, how they can find out how to attend these town halls?
Yes, well, one is tomorrow night in Rock Springs. It's at the Rock Springs City Hall in the council chambers from 6 to 8 p.m. I don't have Marlene's phone number, so if you want to know more about it, you can call me on 307-217-6636. And then the other one is in Pinedale so that's on Thursday the 23rd, also from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's in the Pinedale Library in the Lovett Room. And again, you can give me a call if you have any questions about any other details, address, and such. But they're small towns, so I think you all know the City Hall and the Pinedale Library.
Yeah, absolutely. Julie, thank you so much for your time. And we know you're a busy lady, you have a lot going on. You're actually in Montana right now. So
Yep.
you're on the road doing your thing. It's just so, so cool. But thank you so much for joining us and answering our questions and just filling us with so much hope, because it's so encouraging to hear that there's some things going back to normal and people are still active. So we really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right, we're going to go right to Mike Ruthenberg, our vice president. He has the answer to the really difficult trivia question.
All right. Are you dying to know the answer to who said this amazing statement? I'm going to read it again because it's so profound. It must therefore be evident to every candid man that 2/3 of the states can always procure a general convention for the purpose of amending the Constitution, and that 3/4 of them can introduce those amendments into the Constitution, although the President, Senate, and Federal House of Representatives should be unanimously opposed to each of them. And the answer to who said that, probably not one that you would have guessed right off the bat, but it's Tench Cox, who was an American economist, writer, and served as delegate for Pennsylvania to the Continental Congress. He was a leading proponent for the Constitution as a Federalist. And so you can Google him. There's a lot of great information. It's always fun to find some new tidbit of history that you can learn, which is really what Convention of States is all about. There's people that support the convention, and the more people that know it, support it, and that's what we try to do here. So thanks for listening in. I will turn you back to the main part of the show, the real fun part, and Whitney and Andrew. Thanks for having me.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mike. That was actually a really difficult question, and I love history, and I would not have gotten that. So good job if anyone got that. That's pretty impressive. We have 2 questions we're just going to hit on real fast before we leave. The first question I want to ask Andrew, because Andrew lives in California, so he'll know the answer to this question. But Heidi asks, how are our numbers in California? Do you have any update for us, Andrew?
This is a great opportunity actually for me to use something that I've wanted to use from other people at Convention of States. I'm not sure, but I can find out for you. So many leaders have said that when they have when a question is asked, they don't quite have the information to. They said, don't just say anything to answer the question. Make sure that you're truthful. So I'm not quite sure on that number, but I can find out for you. I know that we'll be able to save that person's name, and we'll be able to reach out to them on that one.
Yes, absolutely, Heidi. And I do know that we have 105,000 petition signers in California, which is awesome. So that's something I do know. So that encourages you.
Well, the question should have gone to you, Whitney.
Well, I just think that's a crazy number. I remember that because California seems like an iffy state, but that just stuck out to me. I think that's really, really awesome. And another question by Mark. He asks, how many more states do we need to get on board? We have 15 states that have passed the resolution. We need 19 more to reach 34 states. So that is currently what it's looking like nationwide. Super exciting to see what our next legislative session will do for us. I mean, it's gonna be really cool because we are ramping up. I can feel it, you know, how everybody's just like getting ready to go, and people are really, really excited to get back on the horse and start doing this thing again. And as we heard from our guest, she definitely is in a state where that's definitely happening in Wyoming. So that's pretty cool. But we're gonna sign off. It was a super awesome show, super fun. I was super excited to ask those questions and hear about Wyoming. I can't believe we haven't really asked any questions of a Wyoming resident before, so that was really, really cool. But this month is the only month where we have a donor who's going to match whatever donations we get. So if you give to Convention of States this month, your donation will actually be doubled, which is amazing. So if you're interested in doing that, go to www.conventionofstates.com/give and take a look, and that would be fantastic. It's the perfect month to do it. So if you're interested, go ahead and look that up and give. That'd be fantastic. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us here on Facebook. I mean, if you're here, more than likely you have liked us on Facebook, but we have reached 2 million likes which is super cool. I just want to keep saying that. It's pretty awesome. It makes me really excited. Also, the 5-Hour Activist series that Andrew has on YouTube is amazing. So, Andrew, will you talk to us a little bit about what you did for this week's 5-Hour Activist?
This week, I highlighted my experience with contacting my legislator. So I was building a relationship with him and trying to meet with him virtually. And I had a date set in stone, and I was going to meet with my assembly member to talk about Convention of States. And that's what my video covers. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to meet him because he canceled like 3 hours before the meeting, which is always unfortunate because politicians are slippery. But I'm continuing to work at building a relationship with my legislator to tell him about the Convention of States project and how we are the solution. So please go and check that out, and also make sure to check out the Battle Cry, which is hosted every Sunday night. It's with COS co-founder Mark Meckler at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at the Convention of States Facebook page. And we'll see you next week for another Facebook Live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Bye, guys.